Right, let's get this bad boy in. Take this off. I get loads of water dripping through the top of here, through this grill. So I put some silver foil over the top of my manifold so it wouldn't get water in there. I'm going to have to buy a rain deflector or something. They are super ugly, but I think I'm going to just have to bite the bullet. So here is the new carb. Well, actually, sorry, I lied, it's the old carb, but I've done some adjusting on it. So if you want to watch what I did, then look for that film on the channel, okay? I just changed the idle screw, I reset the choke, I've reset the accelerator pump so that hopefully it isn't pumping too much in. Made sure that the butterfly closes and it sits on the stepped cam nicely. So hopefully we should get a good effective flow of fuel through. I also replaced the gasket, okay? I've got the gasket on the bottom as well. So this goes at the front and that goes at the back. So let's put that on nice and snug. Make sure that gasket lines up because that's going to create the seal that we really need. Right. Put the first nut on. I don't do it too tight to start with because I just want to check that it's nicely sealed before I start tightening up. This is the fiddly one at the back here. It's like super fiddly. You normally get a nice shot of my hair while I'm doing this, my lockdown hair. This is really fiddly. I might have to edit some of this out. It's taking way too long. I look like a proper girl. There you go. They're on nicely. Just check that that gasket is where it needs to be all around. That's looking really good. Happy with that. Now it just needs to tighten it. So I need to get out spanner. Normally everything is a 13 on a Beetle. Pretty much take everything apart. Nice and snug, don't tight it up too much. I have a random little spanner that I use for this back one because it is a real pig otherwise. Make sure that is finger tight. Now one side fits and one does not. That's the side that fits. And it really is just tiny little movements. Oops! I didn't do that. You would have thought this would be slightly easier, but it is not. It is just super fiddly. There we go. Because it's such a tight angle on here, what I found is that this is slightly offset. So if I can't get it in one way, if I just flip it over, then that will give me the angle. But this is really fiddly to do. Right, what should we do next, guys? Should we put in the accelerator cable? Now normally I would have a little buddy here to help me and push down the accelerator pedal in the front of the car. But I don't have a little buddy today, except for Bud, obviously. So I'm just pushing the accelerator cable through. Now I don't want it stupidly tight. I still want a bit of flex in there from what I've read, because otherwise this cam is not going to sit properly. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to hope that that works. Once you've got it in there, you just use your fingers to tighten that little nut up a little bit. So this is the accelerator cable going in. I'm just tightening it up a little bit with my fingers. Get the ratchet on it and just give it a proper tighten so that bad boy isn't going anywhere. Okay, so I think that feels okay. But it seems to sit on everything as it's meant to. So that's a good start. That is it on and the accelerator cable in. Okay, so next I'm going to get this out of the way. Plug that on. So if you watched in the earlier video, this is where a lot of fires tend to start. Because this just pops right off, and of course it's directly over the distributor, and that can cause a nasty fire. So a lot of people get a piece of wire and they will attach it around this and then around one of the bolts, so this but on the other side, and then it can't come off. So I might do that at a later stage, but I'm trusting in my own abilities to be able to do this up nice and tight. So I want it super, super snug. It's a bit fiddly from back here. I need my glasses on. Super snug. Still turning. You might get to a point where you think it stops, but keep going. Alright, that is nice and tight. That is not going anywhere. Right, now that we've got that back nut on, we don't need to get back there anymore. So we can put the cut-off solenoid back in again. Screw that in. Lost my spanner. This is too big. Don't use this. Don't use this. Ah! My trusty weird little thing. Will that fit? No, that doesn't fit either. I'm gonna have to do a hell of a lot of editing to this video. I'm gonna look like a plum. Okay, next I think we should put the coil back up. So let's make sure that the wires are not entangled and that everything can get to where it needs to go. That's around the back. It shouldn't be like that. That's on. Make sure all these bad boys are in place. Get your little nut. Pop that in. There's one. Again, I don't tighten it up all the way. This one is notoriously difficult. I don't want to put my bum in the way of the camera. So, it's just the angle that it's at. I might have to go for a bum shot, I'm afraid. There we go. I didn't have to get my bum in your face. It's not that kind of video. Okay. Right, I think that's the correct part to get it on more. I think it's that one. No, that one's too big. It's got to be this one. I need to clean up my tools. Look, it's gotten a little rusty. Tell you what, let's get the extension on that. Okay, it's good and tight. Now we want to put the distributor cap back on. So what I always do a quick check. You can pull, I don't know if you can see this with everything in the way, you can pull this rotor arm straight off. Just give it a check, make sure that it's nice and clean, hasn't got any burns on it or anything, any scratches, and then pop your distributor cap back on. You can check inside of that as well, make sure that it's nice and clean. So you've got the 4 contact points there for each of your HT leads leading to your cylinders. And just give those a check, make sure there's not any catastrophic kind of scoring on them. It's not looking too healthy actually, so I might need to tweak that. Put it on. If you're not sure which way to put it on, you just check your number 1 plug is leading towards your number 1, and it's at the correct angle for your dizzy. So sometimes you find that the number 1 is down at 5 o'clock. Mine, for some weird reason, it's at 1 o'clock. Okay, but I know that that is correct because I've done the timing, I've sorted that out. Right, there's 2 little clips. Use a screwdriver just to lift it over the lip of the lid. You might be able to see a little bit better on this one. This has fallen off on this side. Just lift it over like that. It should fit nice and snug, okay? And I'm just going to check that this is number 1. This lead is leading back to the number 1 cylinder, which it is. I'm just going to pull that a little tight. I don't like that being quite so close to my accelerator cable. I don't think it was that close before, so I'm going to move those out of the way over the top. That's better. Okay, I'm happy with that. You do not want anything getting in the way of that accelerator cable. So now that is on, I'm going to look at the vacuum retard in advance. So this is basically fitting onto the carburetor here, okay? And this needs to be airtight. So just check that you haven't got any leaks in the connections. Pop that back on. This is a H3031 picked carburetor, Solex. So you might have a slightly different setup. Sometimes the vacuum advance doesn't go into that part. So just check on YouTube or Google it before. We just need to connect the wires now. So this connects to the negative on the coil, this one here, and it goes to the cut-off solenoid here. Put that on nice and snug. And this loose one here needs to go around the back of the carb, and it goes to the choke. Try not to bend that too much while we're doing it. Round the back, just a little bit fiddly. Fast forward this bit for you guys, it's not very exciting. around the back and onto your choke. Okay, your choke is just around here, and it needs to be connected to some form of electricity, some form of energy, to heat it up so that the choke works properly. Alright, so now I'm going to just check. I say so a lot, I need to stop that. Check everything is connected as it should be. Yes, yes, yes. That's on there. There's only one on the positive. That's connected nicely. Okay, and boom, the carburetor is in. Everything's back to where it needs to be.